Happy Friday. Happy Friday, darling. Happy New Year, just some days away. Naima Singletary here. You are live with the Power to Lead show every weekday, 9 a.m. Pacific. I'm a spiritual business advisor who works with accomplished, spiritually gifted women business owners who have signature work to birth, and they are committed to birthing it in 2019, tripling their revenue, letting it get really good, and stepping into their power like never before. And so I come here to talk about the nuances of stepping into power like never before and growing, and as a result, tripling, you might be on the verge of quadrupling. And today's topic is speaking publicly what you secretly know. Speaking publicly what you secretly know. First of all, I'm very playful, for those of you who do. So I love hearing from you. I'm vain, so I love to hear what you have to say about particularly my brows. Like, it's such a thing. I talked about this a few days ago. And I'm looking forward to what rhythm gets created or what new ways I find to get myself done to be here every weekday. I am here every weekday. That's the commitment. Every weekday for 2019. As far as I'm concerned, 2019 is already here. And so I love to hear what you have to say, like, especially if you notice detail. Like when I look at somebody, how they dress, I'm looking at details. I'm looking at how they accessorize. I'm looking at subtle things. I'm looking at, maybe a little waist thing that they may have kind of hidden. I'm looking at how they coordinate. I'm looking at, like, if there's like for example, like stuff like this. Like, I really like, if I can arrange this without dropping the damn camera. But you see, I have these, hold on. I love fashion, by the way. I love fashion so much that I started a fashion marketing company in 2008, I think it was, because I really wanted to serve. I'm a fan of the underdog, by the way. I'm all about the underdog. And so I started this fashion marketing company specifically to serve emerging fashion and beauty brands. I mean, I like labels, but I'm just like, okay, great. You're a label, you're known. What about those who are unknown? So I started this company and I had so much fun, you guys. I had so much fun. We expanded to multiple cities throughout the United States. And I ended up selling that company in 2011. So I have a personal affinity for this stuff. So, like, details like this, you see these little gold buttons on my sweater, and there's like 4 buttons on each side. And so I pay attention to stuff like that when I'm looking at how people are dressing and the way they, like, because to me, the way you dress is an expression of how you see yourself, right? And so when I see someone who doesn't give much care about their appearance, it tells me something about what's going on the inside. So that's just a little, see, I'm playful like that. And I'm interested in these kinds of things. So if you want to say something about fashion style, your thoughts about the underdog, if you also love the underdog, I would love to hear that in the comments. I love coming back and reading what people have to say. Even if you disagree, I love disagreeing too. So I welcome that in the comment section. So now, today's topic of speaking publicly what you secretly know. This is so, power, man. This is power. Speaking publicly what you privately know. Right? Let that sink in. So I have such a love for women being in power. Like, this is my all day, every day affinity and way of being. It has been my life's path, my entire life's path. And I was made for this. I was born for this. And so since I was a kid, there have been so many experiences where I was challenged, where I was silenced, where I was afraid, terrified, where I kept my mouth shut, or I broke the rules, or I did something to be liked and then felt that sting afterwards because I secretly knew that I didn't really want to do it. I was doing it for approval. Like all these nuances of coming into sovereignty, coming into personal power. And so, it's just I'm so full with this content. It's why I can even do a show 5 days a week, because it's in my blood. It's in my it's all, up and through. And so I have experienced so many times over the years, oh my God, so many times over the years of, do I say that? Do I say that? Am I really gonna say that? What's gonna happen if I say that? What is my mom gonna think? What are these people, like these invisible people who I've never met? What are they gonna think? Like, what are these people who, I respect gonna think? What is my coach gonna think? What is my sister gonna think? What, right? And I want to share a story with you about the necessity of it, particularly when you're birthing your signature work. The necessity, if you're just, a regular entrepreneur, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter because you're just doing the regular shit. You're like everybody else. But see, when you're an anomaly and you're birthing signature work, right? See, this is who I'm talking to. If you're not, then this is not for you and you won't catch it. But when you're birthing, like you're looking, your job is to spread a message. Your job is to heal. Your message is to transform. Your job is to be the walking embodiment of something, that God gave you. And you can't sleep at night because this is your work. You get excited by it. This is your work. In your resting time, in your free time, right? It's with you. You have this thing to give to people, whether it's hundreds of people, thousands of people, or millions. It is so imperative that we speak what we privately know. And so I remember keep in mind, I've been in the transformation space since 2011. And I was dancing as best as I could with expressing power. I was dancing as best as I could. And I started praying at the end of 2012 because I could feel that there was a next for me. I could feel that there was a kind of power, that there was a kind of authenticity, that there was a kind of next level that was available for me that I felt it was time for me to access. And so I started praying, and 2013 came, and I remember I ended up going to this event. It was a 3-day event that really helped me to descend in a way that just broke me down, in a way that I needed to be cracked open and destroyed in order to really be reborn, to really tap into higher consciousness and even be willing to surrender and receive and be with. Surrender, receive, and be with. That is it. And so in 2013, I went through this really, cocoon-like phase of depression for several months. And I remember one day finally being like, God, if I knew what to do, I would have done it by now. And so you need to take the wheel here. You need to take the wheel here. So when you're asking is given. When you ask, it is given. So it came to me, consciousness. I'd call it a download. It came to me, do this, right? Do this. And one of the things was to start writing. I had it all up and through me to start writing in an unfiltered way. Start writing in an unfiltered way. I mean, the kind of writing, hi, mommy, where you sit down and you write without thinking, without judging, without hitting delete, going back and rewrite. There was none of that. I would just let it all come out. And by this time, I had been cracked open. Remember, I had been cracked open. I had surrendered. I was no longer trying to figure it out. And so I was so open to a way, the real way to get me to the next level, because I had found some success, but I was so much ready to reach more and to just really be a much more refined, expressed, expanded version of myself. So that's what I did. I started writing. I started writing about my sexual reality. I started writing about my history with sexual abuse. I started writing about what it felt like to be at this level of being cracked open and being not heard and misunderstood. I started to talk about the ugliness, my self-hatred I had at the time. I started to talk about who it is I was looking to serve, what I was hungry for. And I was really speaking from when I look back on the writings today, this was, end of 2013, early 2014, and I look back on it, it was so gritty. It was so deep. It was so real. I was like, gosh, I wish this for every person who was really serious about doing the work that they're born to do. Because I've been on this path about doing the work you're born to do, right, for a long time. And I remember I would write and I would be terrified to publish. Writing, that's not speaking out of the mouth, but at the time, right? Because you start somewhere. At the time, that was a version of speaking for me. And I remember being like heart palpitations and whoa, just like so taken by pushing the publish button and making these public. There was no filtering. There was no I was just putting it out there, and it was so raw. And I remember my chief fear, I had several fears, but my chief terror was, what is my mom going to think when she finds this? I remember, because I was talking about sucking dick. I was talking about feeling like one of my ex-boyfriends owned me. I was talking about the depths of womanhood. It was deep, you guys. It was deep. And it's the best thing to happen to me at the time. And so what happened is, each time, this is for you right here. This is really the crux of this, at least to me, right? You might see something else as the crux for you. But what I see as the crux of this for every person who finally builds up the courage to speak the thing that they secretly know is that several things happen. Your self-respect goes through the roof. And see, when you have a self-respect, there's a kind of impenetrable power that you hold that doesn't sway you. When you have a self-respect, when you have a high self-respect, you can create financial rules and really stand in them because of the kind of self-reverence that you have and self-respect. So when I started to push and publish in this way, the person who was most deeply impacted first was me, because it was stuff that was in my reality that I knew, even if nobody else was talking about it, even if I was terrified. So one of the things was my self-respect went through the roof. Secondly, I became more fearless. Like, people wonder how I've gotten to where I am today. Darling, it has been a lifelong journey. Are you committed to the lifelong journey? I became more fearless. Like, I can be who I be every day walking through this life, as fearless as I am. And look, I'm not perfect. Like, get over it, right? I'm not perfect. I still get my moments, right? But nothing stops me now. Like, contemplation, yes, but nothing stops anything. So that's the second thing. I became more fearless. 3, I started to like myself more. Because I knew I was being true. Yeah, I started to like myself more, right? And when you like yourself, there's a kind of jovialness. There's a kind of like, you can have a bad day, right? But it's okay. Like, you can fuck up, but it's okay, right? If you can just really come back to that ongoing thread of liking yourself. So we got self-respect went through the roof, confidence went up, liked myself more, and I could go on and on and on, but I'm going to let this be the last one. And then what it did was it really opened me up to go out into the world and serve in a more clear, bold way. See, don't you want to be out in the world, or even in the face of, discounting looks, even in the face of other people's fear, even in the face of bullshit, even in the face of whatever, that you can be that thing, that bright, bold thing. See, that's probably the best. Like, I could create a laundry list, but that right there, because see, it's you. At the end of the day, it's you out there. It's your voice. It's your presence. It's what you're writing. It's what you're putting on Instagram. It's what you're putting on LinkedIn. It's what you're doing on video. It's how it's you. You are the thread. And so once you are correct, once you are clear, once you are bold, people either get information or they get out the way. That's it. They get information or they get out the way, right? So if you are committed to birthing your signature work in 2019, you should be in my signature power class. Listen, it's $99. It's a 75-minute live interactive web class with me next Thursday, January 3rd, 3 p.m. Eastern. A link is going to be with this video about within 15 minutes after I hang up here. And it's a great opportunity, particularly if you like the value that you get from these videos and you want to go a little bit further and you're not quite ready to work with me in that private, higher level way, right? Where the investment is 5 or 6 figures. So we're going to go into one, identifying your signature power style. What is like if you really walk through the world as the power that is uniquely yours, and I imagine that you got a bunch of shit on top of it that prevents you from really just being that spark. You walk into a coffee shop and that's what it is. You push play on that camera and that's what it is. And so we're going to start to tap into what is your signature style. Also, we're going to go into the inevitable negatives because it's hard. This shit is hard, okay? The culture of patriarchy, which has been around for centuries, has done a damn good job of convincing us as women that what we have to say is not as important, that we deserve less, that blah, 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 right? So as a result of you being in opposition to that, your presence being in opposition to that, you are going to receive negatives, and I'm going to teach you how to navigate that shit because I've been doing that shit for years. And there is a way, and I'm going to show you the way. 3, how to create safety for yourself, because it's anywhere from fearful to terrifying to really start to step up as a powerful woman. Every woman I know who's powerful has had to create systems, create a mindset, create a community, create the way for her to be able to consistently show up as the truth of who she is. There's a kind of self-care that's unique to you, right? So how to create safety so you can consistently show up as the power, refined signature power that you are as you're birthing your signature work in the world in 2019, stepping into your power like never before, tripling your revenue, letting it get really good. So click the link with this video to register. It's only $99. I mean, that's just like the best investment that if you are the woman who I'm describing, that's the best thing you're going to do for 2019. Okay. So the class is next Thursday. Yes, there will be a replay. Somebody asked me that. There will be a replay. You will get that after you register. After class, obviously, you'll get the replay. And if you have any questions, you can either post them with this video or you can send an email. And my email is also beneath this video, okay? So I got to use the bathroom. Like, I had to use the bathroom tremendously before I even got here. Now I really got to go. So, but I'm going to make sure I put the link for you to register. It's going to be beneath this video within 15 minutes after I hang up today, okay? So I look forward to seeing how I look because the sun is right in my face and I can barely see myself, but I know that you guys can see me. So I welcome your feedback. I welcome your questions. I welcome your comments. Never hesitate. And also, if you'd like to have a conversation about what it would look like to work privately together, because you already know that you know that you know, send me an email. I'd be happy to discuss with you what is up. Naima Singletary here signing off. It's such a joy to share this content because when I speak to you, I'm speaking to me, and it feels good to fill up every single morning. So I will be here every weekday for 2019, 9 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Paris time. Lots of love and happy Friday. I'll see you on Monday. Spread the message. Bye.